Welcome back to Straight Facts on Tuesday. I'm sorry we're late. It was my fault. The boys were all waiting. I was sitting in a different StreamYard link waiting for them. So I'm really sorry, everybody. I apologize for being late, but a big show for you all today as we unpack the weekend. We cook LB. We preview the midweek games, and we continue to cook LB. And we talk about other news, and then we finish the show by cooking LB. Is what we're going to be doing today. Everyone can cook him unless you're a Spurs fan, and we're going to get onto that later. If you're a Spurs fan, please pipe down. Please put Dad, if you're watching, pipe down, geezer, because it ain't for you. This ain't for you. This ain't your fight. Do you know what I'm saying? But gentlemen, how are you both? You well?
Yeah, man.
All right, man.
I'm all good, bro.
I'm ready. I'm pre-cooked. Yeah, I'm like that pre-cooked freezer food. You know what I mean? I'm ready for the
Do you know what's funny? I know Potsy told us his mic's broken. I don't think yours is connected, LB.
No, I don't think it is either.
What are you saying?
You had a nightmare. You and City are ruined.
Yeah, your audio is echoey like mine. Mine is genuinely bad because my microphone is bust. So I'm now using the crap from my laptop until I get it later.
I'm gonna my mic, man.
Yo, I'm on the mic too sly. Yo, inside the place. Yeah, yo, we're here live. We're here for the LB cooking, ladies and gentlemen, and I'm here with a special mic. Now, you know what it is? My mic was playing up the other day, so I had to swap mics. So yeah, I'm just gonna sit here like this, take the cooking, and yeah, man. Sorry about that.
You're about to interview someone.
Right, mate. He's all right. He forgot he had to use a different mic. Honestly, do you know? Remind me of when you like doing that. You boys ever watch People Just Do Nothing?
Yeah,
please tell me. Oh, it's a great show. Honestly, I grew up loving Garage as well. It's just the best. It's the best. Corrupt FM. Loads to talk about today, loads to get through, but we have to start with Manchester City. I have to say, LB, your watch along on Sunday was a thing of beauty. It was marvelous, magnificent, just a work of art. If they played it in the Tate Museum art gallery, it would win a Turner Prize. It was that amazing. But specifically for Sunday, what went wrong? Because the formation was weird, the lineup was weird. Break it down for us, mate.
Yeah. So I've just swapped back to my other mic. Is it working now? Yeah. You can hear it.
Good.
All right, sound. Well, I mean, we can speak about Sunday, yeah, but Sunday doesn't really tell the full picture. If we're being honest, we have to go back to the summer, and effectively, what happened was the club kind of gambled on our season, and they gambled on, I would say, Erling Haaland. And they gambled on Rodri, right? Because we didn't have a backup for Haaland. We didn't have a backup for Rodri. Now, obviously Haaland has stayed fit. Had Rodri stayed fit, and if Haaland stays fit for the full season, we're probably all right. Unfortunately, Rodri got the worst injury we could possibly get. And because the club hadn't done what they should do, which was buy someone in case something like that happened, it's effectively left us with a group of players that simply cannot do the job that we need them to do. Now, that doesn't mean I'm blaming the injury. I'm not. I'm blaming the board. I'm blaming Tiki. I'm blaming Pep for not protecting ourselves against that risk. Now, of course, the chance, of an ACL is extremely rare, right? So that is unlucky. However, injuries can happen. He could have got a hamstring injury, which would have kept him out for 3 months, 4 months. I mean, these things do happen. And unfortunately, the club have to be held accountable here, and Tiki needs to hold that. I know he's leaving anyway in the summer, so it's not like anyone's saying Tiki out necessarily because he's going anyway. But the club have messed up here, and I think they know they've messed up. And we've been very, very lucky this year, very, very lucky. Apart from the first 3 games of the season, where, to be fair, I actually felt like we did play well against Chelsea, West Ham, and Ipswich. If you look at all the games since then, we've been pretty much every single one of them, bar one, which was Southampton. We've actually been very lucky. Brentford, we should have been 3 or 4-0 down within 10 minutes. And when I say 3 or 4-0 down, I'm talking proper chances. I'm not talking half chances. They was poor. Fulham, we beat them 3-2. Traore should have scored a hat-trick that day. Wolves, we scored in the 97th minute. Arsenal, we equalised in the last kick of the game. So we've been extremely lucky and extremely fortunate. Unfortunately, for us, we just ran out of gas. We've run out of luck. We've run out of fortune. and the table is starting to correct itself. I always believe that sometimes the table can lie. You know that you hear that phrase, or the Premier League table's lying. I do believe that sometimes the table doesn't tell the truth. And when we were second, I don't think the Premier League table was telling the truth at that point, because we was never the second best team in this country. We got extremely fortunate. And since then, teams have found us out. Teams have been more clinical, and we've been getting cooked, unfortunately. And Sunday was just another one of those performances. It wasn't anything different. If anything, in the second half, we're actually slightly better than we've been recently. But it was another game that we could have lost 4 or 5-0. If we're being honest with you, like Salah, Van Dijk could have had a hat trick, and it was. I don't think any City fan really, if you ask them deep down, ever thought we was going to get anything from the game, even a draw. I mean, I predicted a 2-0, 3-1 defeat. We got 2-0. Could have been 5-0, and the club now, the players have to humble themselves. The manager has to humble himself. We have to humble ourselves as a club and say, listen, we're not in a title race anymore. Yeah, let's take the pressure off ourselves by saying we're not in one, because we're not. We're 11 points behind. Let's be honest, we're not in one. And we've just got to go back to basics and just try and win a football match. And if we win a football match, then maybe you can win 2, you win 2, you win 3. But right now, the full focus, as Ruben Diaz says, has to be on Forest tomorrow, which is going to be no easy game. We're a point ahead of them. But unfortunately, yeah, it's looking like 5 titles in a row, just one step too far. And the sad thing is, we've done it ourselves. We've caused this issue ourselves because of the poor transfer window. So it is what it is. I believe now that it's Liverpool's title to lose. I think that Arsenal have got a chance because, you know, they're a good side, but I think it's Liverpool's to lose now. And best we can hope for now is get top 4, buy some players in January, and then give the FA Cup, give the Champions League a good go. Because people are saying, it's the season over, it's the season. No. The season's not over. The Premier League season for me is over, because I don't think we can win the Premier League. But we can buy players in January, and we all know, that the best team doesn't always win the Champions League. Chelsea won it a few years ago. They were the best team. Real Madrid won it last year. Were Real Madrid the best team in Europe last year? No, they weren't. You don't have to be the best team. So one thing that I will disagree with City fans on is any City fans saying the season is over. I disagree with that, because we can still have success this year. Buy players. We need to buy a couple players in January and go for the two cups that we're in.
Yeah, which I think is exactly why I was saying on the one thing I was calling Pep out for last week, and I'd love to get the boys' take on this as well as Dan's overarching views of the weekend. I expect a manager of his caliber, and I've read reports today from The Athletic that he's locked himself away, he's not answering phone calls, he's obsessed with finding a way out of this, which is fair. But I expect Pep to find a solution to make you competitive again. Because although bad runs happen, it's happened to every great manager in their time, all of them. But that's the one thing where I look at Pep and I think to myself, it's the first adversity to this level he's ever faced. I am expecting him, and I said it last week, I am expecting him to win the league from this point. Because again, all the other great managers that are on the GOAT list, the GOAT debate, have all had seasons where they haven't won the league. Have all had seasons where they lost their best player and didn't win the league. When Man United lost Eric Cantona after kicking a racist, we didn't go on to win the league that year. But we were competitive until the final day and lost out by a point, as an example. So that's the one thing I'm looking at here when it comes to Pep more than anything else.
Oh, yeah. Can I adjust that bit?
It's to not throw the season away, because you've still got free
exactly.
You can win.
Let me readjust that. So when it comes to Pep Guardiola, for me, I think that he has made a few errors. I think he set the team up wrong against Liverpool. For me, I think he should have played Núñez in the middle. Núñez played really well against Feyenoord in the middle. He's one of our better players. He adds pace, he adds energy, and he adds physicality. Something that we have zero of in that midfield. The midfield is Bernardo Silva, Kovacic, Gundogan, Rico, Lewis, and Foden. That is like zero physicality. Núñez adds physicality. On the other side, you could have played Grealish left wing instead of Núñez, which means that when you do go through periods of getting cooked against Liverpool, which was always going to happen at some point, he's one of the best players to have in the world, because he can just win a foul and just dead the situation. So I think Pep, for me, has made a few issues. I don't think he's the main problem, although he definitely is part of the issue at the moment, but I'm sure he'll sort it out. But one of the problems that we've got, and this is why I went very, very early on saying that we was in serious trouble. After 3 games, I did a video saying we're in crisis, and some City fans didn't like it. But one of the reasons I said it, and said it so soon, and been proven correctly, is because I don't think we necessarily have the solution in this current squad. And I think I've been proven right, because since I did that first video, we failed to win another 4 games. The players that we have, mate, they can't do it. Gundogan, unfortunately, should never have come back. Like, I got behind it at the time. Like, Gundo back, I was buzzing. I'm a fan of emotional. But that is turning out to be a disaster. Kovacic, even though he's been one of our better players this year, still has major issues. Yeah, he's slow in transition. Rico has no physicality. And De Bruyne's not kicked a ball all season, really. So that's one of the reasons that we've got problems. And we can talk about Pep, and there's things that maybe Pep could do better here or there. But that's why when Rodri got injured, I said, we just need to get to January. Because I knew we was in the mud, man. And unfortunately, it's been proven correctly. Let's just see, man. Hopefully, we win tomorrow. Because if we don't, then that's just getting to the point of like, what is actually happening here? But listen, it is what it is. We've got to deal with it and see what happens. But the season, we can't just write the season off, man. We've still got two trophies, 3 if you include that Club World Cup at the end.
Yeah, it's interesting. There's a lot there that I actually would like to touch on. So first of all, Pep Guardiola. Let's just talk about him. The guy's a genius. The guy's magnificent, right? But when he walked into the club, he said, I ain't going to be doing anything unless you give me 4 fullbacks in the club, sort my midfield out, blah, blah, blah. I've always said with Pep Guardiola, he's a genius. He's unbelievable. But you have to give him the tools, because when he doesn't have the tools, as you're seeing, he's just like...
Is that not the same with any manager, though, Potsy?
Yeah, no, you're right. But what I'm getting at, so it wasn't really a dig, really. That's kind of like, I suppose it's a generic question, really, or a generic statement that Pep Guardiola, when you give him the tools, he'll beat anybody. If he's not quite got the best tools, I don't think you're like... So, for example, let me give you an example. Sir Alex Ferguson didn't have the best tools, but he got the best out of that match.
That is a load of nonsense. He didn't have the best tools.
Do you know why it's not?
Oh my God! How many times did he break the British transfer record?
Did you see them winning? Did you see them winning in 2013 with Van Persie, and literally the rest of their squad was a disgrace?
Right. So in 2012, Potsy, they failed.
That's why. But that's why, LB. Sir Alex Ferguson will always be seen better than Pep.
Okay.
Why? Because he's done that.
It's optics. In 2012, Potsy, they didn't win the league. What did Fergie do that year? He went out and bought one of the best strikers in the world.
Who have you got? Haaland. Have you not got Haaland?
What are you talking about? You're trying to tell me that that Fergie didn't have the best players. He didn't win the league in 2012. He went out and bought one of the best strikers in the Premier League and won the league.
League. Yeah, but you've got one of the best strikers now. Why can't you win the league?
Well, you're changing the conversation. You just said Fergie didn't have the best players. It's a load of nonsense.
Hang on. On Fergie, let me just give you an example on Fergie here, though. Sorry, Dan. Let me just give you an example on Fergie here. When he says he's got the best tools, where I would just slightly change what Dan said in this argument is he had amazing tools, but not always the best. Yes, he broke some British transfer records. However, that for me is slightly disingenuous. 92-93 season, Blackburn were the highest spenders. 93-94 season, Blackburn highest spenders. 94-95 season, Everton highest spenders. 95-96 season, Newcastle the highest spenders. 96-97 season, biggest spenders were Newcastle. 97-98, Newcastle were the biggest spenders. Man United didn't become the biggest spenders in a singular summer until the summer that we went on to win the treble. So Fergie had done, by then had won 6 titles in 7, which from when he won the first one, which is what Pep's done, without a single time being the highest spender. So I think there's always this misconception. Yes, he broke some British transfer records. By the way, the year after that, Liverpool were the highest, then Leeds, then Man United again. Then Man United again. Then it was Chelsea. Then it was Chelsea 4 years running. Then Liverpool. Then City. Then City. Then City. Then Chelsea. And then Fergie retired. Fergie was the highest spender twice in 26 years. Yeah,
but that's not what he's saying, though, Terry. He's saying that he didn't have the best tools. That's just a complete lie.
Other clubs had more money to spend at most years than we did.
He's talking about. He's not talking about money.
When you get to now, go on, LB. Go on. Finish what you're saying.
He's saying he didn't have the better tools.
When Sir Alex Ferguson had to get the best out of an unbelievable side that was aging or coming to the end of it, he could always squeeze someone out of it. It seems now Pep Guardiola's like, well, they've all got to their 30s now. I need to go and spend more money and create a new team. Why can't you get the best out of this crop of players still? That's what my question is. It looks like it's Man City fans like 7 games. We get to January, we go freshen up the squad. We've got to. For me,
did you say that? Hang on a minute, though. So did you say that? Did you say that about Fergie in 2012 when they didn't win the league?
What do you mean? What do you mean? Did I say that about Fergie?
So you're now saying why can't Pep get the best out of this set of players? Because now we're not going to win the league. Did you say the same thing about Fergie in 2012 when they didn't win the league?
In 2013, did you see the team that he won with? Did you see that back line? Jones, Smalling, Fabio, Raphael.
They had Rooney, they had Van Persie.
Rooney and Van Persie, brilliant. You've got Haaland and Foden.
Right.
So
you're
that's
saying
what
they
I'm
didn't have the
saying.
best tools. You're changing the
I
argument,
don't think he
Potsy.
has.
You said they didn't
I
have
don't
the
think
best
Pep's got the
tools.
best
This is
tools
a
right
complete
now.
and utter lie, bro.
I don't think Pep's got the best tools right now, and I don't think the Fergie had the best in 2013. But I saw him get it across the line, and I'm asking, can Pep get it across the line for you? That's what I'm asking.
So 1 year we don't win it, and now you're making it out like, oh, he's not this good manager or whatever.
Well, I'm saying there's a comparison between Ferguson and Sir Alex Ferguson and Pep Guardiola, which I've always said overall I think Pep's a genius. I think Sir Alex Ferguson leaves him dead in the water in terms of the Premier League management overall, and this is an example of why. Because when that team got to the end, they were like, if I leave this team now, it is not going to be good. Hence why they haven't won the league since he's left. Because that is what he did. He got the best. He gave that David Moyes, and it was just absolutely horrendous team. And Man United have been trying to catch up since. I'm asking, can Pep Guardiola get the best out of these players right now? I.e., he's got Foden there, he's got Haaland there, he's got Vardy there, he's got Rico Lewis, Doku, all these youngsters, not all of these 35-year-olds. People keep saying, oh, he can't do now. He's got 35-year-olds now. He'll have to go and freshen it up and give him a no. And I was saying, when he walked in at Man City, he didn't have it. It was like, give me 4 fullbacks, a load of things. I need the tools. That's what he's saying. So, yeah, you're right to say most managers need that, because we can go and talk about Arteta if you want, about him still not getting it across the line. I'm not talking about, look, it's easy to do. I'm saying when it gets to the stage where it matters, what has Pep got now? Is he going to get the best? Is he going to find the form of Gundogan? Is he going to
we probably won't win the league this year, but Fergie didn't win the league every year. So why couldn't he get the best out of his players? I don't understand the point, though. Fergie didn't win the league every year, so why did he get the best out of it? Why did he get the best out of his players in 2012?
I feel like the question...
2012 was like, let's be real, the last kick of the game lost him it. And then the following season...
irrelevant. He didn't win the league. Why did he get the best out of the players?
No, he didn't win the league, but let's be real, that wasn't like he'd been left behind but 11 points in December like you guys are.
Well, it's December. Let's see what happens. Well, Fergie didn't win the league every year.
Do you know what I would say the challenge towards Pep, though, is unless I'm asking this a question within this statement. This is the first time I feel that I've seen him with a team that is imbalanced and not properly constructed. When he took over at Barcelona, it was already a very good team that was a Champions League semi-finalist the year before and won the Champions League, I think, 2 seasons prior. He made them better, but he took over a brilliant team. He took over a treble-winning Bayern Munich. He took over a City team, not as good as it is now, but still had world-class players in like KDB and had been league champions 1 season prior. So it wasn't like he took over a team in huge transition or a team that's been in the mud for years like Arsenal, or a team that's been in the mud for years like when Brendan Rodgers took over at Liverpool. What I'm looking at here in terms of he's a genius, and I will never undo or attempt to undo any of the greatness that's come before Pep. But what I'm assessing now is his ability, because he's never done it, to rebuild a great team into another great team. Because again, I've seen Sir Alex Ferguson do that. Where I agree with you, LB, there was years. There was a couple of seasons where I think we went 3 years without winning the league. We did a 3-peat. Arsenal won it. We won it in 2002 or 2003. And then it was Invincibles followed by back-to-back Chelsea. But then we went on to do a 3-peat. Fergie rebuilt another great team as an example. During those years, though, that Fergie wasn't able to win the league, he was still picking up trophies, which you may still do this year. And he was still competitive in the league. He wasn't going 7 games without winning. So that's more where I'm looking at Pep Guardiola here. However, whether he is a success or not, doesn't undo any of the great achievements that he has already delivered against for me. But I think he has to be scrutinized because Fergie was in that period. I remember it like it was yesterday, the way the media were talking about him. Has he lost his powers? Is he over the hill? People even asking if he was overhyped back then. And then he built another team that did a 3-peat, another team that won a Champions League afterwards. And I think when it comes to the Pep conversation, we are splitting hairs because he isn't compared against any other manager currently managing, probably barring Ancelotti. He is only compared against the Paisleys, the Shankleys, the Fergies, the Cloughs. He's compared against the greatest of all time. So when you're comparing the greatest of all time, hairs get split because you are looking for the finer detail between them all. And I think rebuilding a team that's been amazing, keeping it competitive, and then making it highly successful again, it's the first time he's been through this challenge. And I'm not even throwing it out there as salt. I'm intrigued to see how he does. Because I think you do a good job, but I'm just intrigued to see.
I also feel that this notion that he's not rebuilt a team is also not true. If you look back at our first Premier League winning side, we had Aguero and Jesus up top, neither of them at the football club. We had David Silva in the side, he's not there. Fernandinho in the side, he's not there. Mendy in the side, he's not there. Otamendi in the side, he's not there. The only players we've got left now are Walker, who you know, is finished and hardly played, well, didn't play that much last year. Stones, who is, let's be honest, has been a bit part player for us for so long because of his injuries. De Bruyne, who again has been injury prone for so long, and Bernardo Silva is the only one really that's in that side, as long with the goalkeeper, that is actually regularly in there. I already feel that he's already rebuilt a side.
That's fair. I mean, this comment here is crazy though. It says, yeah, like Fergie's first 7 years were spectacular. Again, Fergie, from when Fergie took over Man United, you cannot compare it to when Pep took over Barca, Bayern, or Man City, because neither three clubs were in that situation. So for me, that's where you're being very disingenuous. I rate Pep, and this is the difference between a Man United fan talking about Pep. I've said nothing negative about him. I've taken no achievement away. You belittle in those first 7 years when he almost single-handedly rebuilt a broken club from the ground up that was failing, that hadn't won a league title in decades, hadn't won a Champions League in decades, was failing every year. And he gutted that club out, rebuilt the academy, built it from the ground up, grew the stadium size, increased he managed the entire club. So he did what Pep, Tiki, whatever his name is, and all your board do. Fergie did the whole damn thing as the manager of the whole football club, built it out over 7 years. And I didn't think it took 7 years to win a league title. I think he won trophies before that, if I go back and look at the maths on it. But again, you throwing that up as a dig at Fergie only enhances Sir Alex Ferguson's claim if you're going to do a debate about this.
Yeah, no, it does. Terry, but the thing is, yeah, let's not pretend like Fergie worked on a shoestring budget with dead players.
No one said that.
Potsy said he didn't have the tools.
No, I didn't say that.
He said you didn't have. You literally said you didn't. Fergie didn't have the best tools.
I said when the going gets tough and it doesn't look like you got the tools, what have you got to get out of this squad until January, until the summer? And Fergie got it across the line. And I think Pep's using his face as a scratch card and looks like he's coming out putting 6 fingers in the air to say this is done. I've got 6, but let's just move on now. And I don't know that's the right thing, man. But look, he could get it right. I'm looking towards Pep. I'm looking at what he could do. I've got quite an aging midfield at Arsenal with Partey and Jorginho, but we've got to try and change it. You've got to change things round. I don't like my midfield. Man City's looks bad at the moment. Change it. Chop and change it. See if you can do something. Bring someone in January. I'm looking towards Pep now to say what you're going to do. I think he's a genius. He's unbelievable. The only reason I brought Ferguson up was because that's why I brought Ferguson up and not, I don't know, Carlo Ancelotti in the Premier League or Conte in the Premier League, because Ferguson for me is the best Premier League manager in history and Pep Guardiola is the second. I look at it now and I think, right, okay, now we're comparing. For whatever reason they're going, oh, Guardiola's better. No, he's not. Ferguson's better. No, it's not. Let's look at what Fergie did when the chips were down for him, because 2012 he was gutted. Yeah, he would have bought Van Persie, but you guys have got Ireland and they got it. Well, let's be real. I don't know if Terry would agree. Probably one of the worst Man United sides I've seen that's won a Premier League title across the line, dump them off and then give it to Moyes, who took them down to 6 or 7.
And by the way, it won it at a canter with quite a high amount of points. I think won it with about 82 to 85 points, and we were clear of everybody. We actually, in the end, we won it with ease, which, considering how good City were back then as well, was an amazing achievement. And by the way, again, I'm just going to call out some of these idiots in the comment section. No one said Fergie's perfect. And this is the thing, David. Like, I haven't attacked Pep in any capacity. All I have stated, I'm intrigued.
I've questioned.
No one has.
No, neither of you have attacked Pep, but Potsy tried to make out like he didn't have these good players, Fergie, which is just a lie.
No, that wasn't my point. I said.
What did you mean then when you said Fergie didn't have the best tools, which is wild?
Let me go through what that 2013 squad was, and I'll come back to it, because maybe I got it wrong. Maybe Manchester City maybe Man United had an unbelievable 2013 side that no one was going to catch. It was absolutely phenomenal. I looked at that and I thought, that's not a great side. You give it to Moyes, and let's be real, I know David Moyes wasn't going to go and win trebles with it, but at the same time, I thought it was poor. I think there was only De Gea that was
that was his worst side, 100%.
Yeah, so that's what I'm getting at.
But so you're just going to compare Fergie's last year, where he done well with like a mediocre side, which I agree with one period of instability for City.
But there was one, but that was one of the only periods of instability of Manchester United under Sir Alex Ferguson, where you looked at it and thought, is that squad really good enough? And he managed to get that across the line. Now we're in a scenario where the season hasn't finished yet. Pep Guardiola could still go and win a league and do a madness. If he does that, that's what I'm looking at. Can he do that? That's where I'm questioning it. I don't know that he can. Maybe he can.
I also think in fairness to Pep as well, this is what happens when you stay at one club for a very long period of time, or if you take over a club when it isn't at its best to rebuild it or to rise it from the ashes. And again, this isn't a dig at Pep Guardiola. It's just new ground. So, for instance, Sir Alex was at St Mirren, okay? So the early part of his career, he was at a club that was never expected to win, and he made them very competitive. Took over at Aberdeen, never expected to win. The guy actually took over the stranglehold of Scottish football and beat Real Madrid in a European Cup final, which is just with Aberdeen. It's just crazy to this day. He then took over Man United, and it took 6 or 7 years to really get the team ready to win a league title. But of course, there's ups and downs in that. And then when you stay at that club 26 years, within that period, you're going to go through times where you bought wrong, because Fergie made those mistakes, and the club goes through transitional periods, and people pull on that. Pep's always been in a situation, no disrespect to him, because he was good enough to do it. It's why I don't call him a checkbook manager, and I don't speak about the money. But he went into 3 clubs that were in very good situations when he took over with amazing squads.
I disagree with that, Terry. I've got to challenge that. If you actually watch what he walked into at Barcelona, it was a mess.
Oh, okay, but they were having troubles with Frank Rijkaard, but that squad, okay, plus who was coming through with Xavi, Iniesta, Busquets coming through, Messi, Ronaldinho, the squad was amazing. And you know, like we've spoken about with Liverpool, and they were kind of, last season, people were saying their squad was a mess. People were talking about Klopp's lost his energy. Slot comes in, and you just see straight away what the problem was last year. By and large, the manager had lost his mojo. The motivation had gone. New guy comes in, regalvanizes the same squad. Look how fucking amazing they look. Pep did that and some at Barcelona, added in his style, his adaptation to Klopp's football. But I don't think he's taken over I wouldn't put Barcelona in the category that Arsenal were in when Arteta came in. I wouldn't put them into the same category that Liverpool were when Shankly took them over, as an example. I think there's a distinction between the two. But this isn't a dig at Pep either. All Pep is now going through, because he's never been there before, he's been at a club a long time, nearly a decade, and you're going through a period where, as you've said, a number of things have gone wrong at the same time. Some poor signings, maybe a lack of motivation from some players aging out, etc. And the manager's trying to find a way to make his team competitive. This is why when it came to the debate, who the best Premier League manager in the league is, for me, I'm just saying Fergie until the end of Pep's time, because we don't know what Pep's going to do. We haven't seen the whole of Pep's tenure. I don't believe anyone that does 5-6 years can be better than someone that does 20 odd years and wins 13 titles, because you're talking about a much longer period of time. Let's see how what if he comes 5th this season? Fergie, as an example, Fergie never came 5th. What if he comes 5th this season, wins nothing, next season wins nothing, and then leaves?
That's exactly what I'm getting at.
And this isn't a dig at Pep. I'm not even trying to dig him out. This is why the debate around who's better between the two is too early, because there isn't enough time. It's like comparing a player who's 3 or 4 years into his career versus someone who's retired. It's so hard to do, even if they're at the same similar points at age per age. Because, for instance, we know what Aguero's career looked like. So just because you get a new young striker at City who 2 seasons in you think's going to be better, doesn't mean he is better. Even 5-6 seasons in, you don't know what comes down the line. They might fall off. And I just feel that, listen, I'm going to keep repeating myself because City fans in the comments don't want to hear it. I am not taking anything away from Pep. I'm just intrigued to see how he manages this situation, because every other manager that I remember, good, bad, or indifferent, I remember Cloughy in the 90s getting so much shit, so much grief in his final season when Forest went down. He was getting so much criticism from them. And Cloughy was a national hero. This man won back-to-back Champions Leagues a handful of years earlier. He was getting scrutinized left, right, and center in the early 90s. I remember we spoke about it at school, and my teachers talking about it. It was crazy. Now, there's no social media back then. All the greats have been through it. I don't see why Pep should be exempt from the challenge. That's all.
And I think what the thing is, I understand why some of the City fans in the chat are rattled, because it's been a while since they've lost and they've been quite spoiled over the last 5-6 years. But for me, I think it's a compliment to Pep Guardiola that we're looking at it now thinking, wow, he's been absolutely flawless for the majority of his 6-year reign, or whatever the hell it's been, or six that he's won. Now they're going to get tough. What's he got? I still think he's going to win games. I still think you're going to get players in, and I still think you're going to have a good season. So that's where I'm at, man. So don't I know people in the chat all start coming for me and Terry, but I am not saying Pep Guardiola is a shit manager. Let me make that very, very clear. No,
not at all. He's in my top 2 of all time. I think he's amazing. I really do.
Right? Unbelievable.
Absolutely.
The records are there, right? The reason I brought it up was because of that. That is literally the only reason. Is like, I remember when Sir Alex Ferguson, people going, "Whoa, that squad looks like it ain't got much left in it," and the Man City squad is now looking like that. Whether you believe that or not is a question.
The question I'd ask, right, LB, who do you reckon's made more mistakes in their life, you or your dad? Like general everyday mistakes.
I'm perfect. I ain't making mistakes.
Yeah. Well, because your dad's older, he's going to make more, right? Because he's older. It's just one of those things. And I just feel like when it comes to these comparisons, I'm not a fan of them. And most of the time, I'm not a fan of them because all I see is people slagging off Sir Alex. And it's like, well, hang on. There's loads of things we can throw back in reverse. Do you know what I mean? But listen, viewers, give us your thoughts and feelings. Moving on slightly. I'm going to do super chats first, actually. Sorry. This says, for me, Pep is entering a period of Sir Alex Ferguson where after we won the treble, we didn't win a league for no, not quite. We won it. We went 1 year without winning it, won it again, and then 3 years without winning it. And had to deal with Jose and City and still win. Pep now in a new phase. And I think that's something that gets forgotten about Sir Alex Ferguson's era. You then had this injection of money from Chelsea like no one had ever seen in football. No one had ever seen it. Different level. And he managed to catch it, surpass it and beat it, which I think is amazing.
That was where you can compare it to Wenger and say that we completely fell off, whereas you continue to compete and beat Jose Mourinho. So your arrival then changed from Wenger to Jose. That's why I have so much time for what Sir Alex Ferguson's done. I'm not saying he's had it hard at Man United, by the way, so please don't think that's what I'm saying. It's not like he's had it tough.
This is a great comment. It says LB in the mud. How long I've waited for this. No, again, it's someone actually said earlier in the comments, Terry, you don't go in this hard on Arsenal. Well, this is the thing, bruv. I have done. You just haven't watched the you just haven't watched the Football Terrace long enough. And trust me, City are a bigger rival to me than Arsenal are. Just the simple fundamental facts of the matter. Maybe not as a kid, but once I lived in Manchester for 4 or 5 years, it changed for me. It changed.
Do you know what, Terry? Why should we not go in hard on City? This has been a long time coming, man. We should be lapping it up. We don't get to do this often, man. They've been laughing at us for what, 6-7 years in a row. I've been the banter club for most of their bloody era since they've been at the top of the table. When I was growing up, they were in Division 2, man. This is beautiful to see. I'm going to enjoy it. Of course I am.
Didn't buy what you needed. Not serious is what Runin.
Not serious, bro. Not serious.
On Liverpool though. They're probably not getting as much attention because of City's fall off, but they look a little bit special this season, LB.
You know what's mad, yeah, is we clocked it after a couple of games for me. I seen Slot in there after 2 or 3 games. I was like, yeah, this is gonna be a bit of a problem. I didn't think they'd be as good as this, right? I'll say that, but I could see it straight away, man. You know what I mean? Like the way that he had them playing. You compared Slot after 3 games to Ten Hag at United after 3 years, and it was just night and day. They looked like they had a system. They looked like they knew what they were doing. And yeah, obviously you had better players, whatever. That's fair. And they had like world-class elite talent in Van Dijk and Salah. But the rest of the team was just moving mad as well. So I think they'll look a really good team. I think they're going to win the league so long as they can keep Salah and Van Dijk fit. I think if they keep them 2 players fit, they'll win the league. And yeah, it's pretty mad, really. It's pretty mad that he's just going to walk in and win the league in his first season because that's just crazy. And especially everyone would have assumed that if City didn't win the league, Arsenal would have done it. And I've City not going to win the league, and Arsenal's still not going to do it, which is kind of mad. So yeah, all credit to him, man. All credit to him. It'll be interesting to see what happens with the contracts. Is this just going to be a 1-year thing, and then Salah and everyone leaves, and then he's going to struggle? How much is Salah and Van Dijk carrying this side versus how much is it really Slot and his tactics? But we'll have to wait until next year, years after, to see exactly. But right now, you have to give credit to Slot, man. And yeah, like I think the way that they're playing as well, it's less rock and roll football, a bit more boring. And but that's better for long term. That means that they're going to be suited to the league. That was one of the criticisms you had over Klopp. Everyone liked watching Liverpool, right? But they didn't win too many league titles because they always gassed out towards the end. They didn't have the energy. Whereas this way that Slot's got on playing, I just think it's more suited to league football than Klopp was. I feel like Klopp was more suited to knockout football, which is why I really wanted him as the England manager. Because it's like gung-ho, full attack, rock and roll, 6-7 games, knockout tournament, bang, yeah? I don't think Klopp was really suited to a 38-game season slog. Whereas Slot looks like he might be. So, yeah, see what they do, man. As long as they keep Salah fit, keep Van Dijk fit, I think they win the league.
I think they look very good, man. And I'm worried because I don't even know that they've actually got properly going yet. That's what's crazy. I don't look at them yet and think, wow, this is scintillating. No one can get near them. I still think there's room for improvement. And I know that they had a good squad and that Klopp left them in a good place. But I don't think that we are perhaps we are, I think, overlooking what he's done with some of the other players. We all knew that Salah was world class. We all knew they had Alisson, Trent, and they had Van Dijk. But I think what he's done with the other players has actually allowed Salah, Trent, and Van Dijk to get even better, because they've not been having to be the focal point of the team. Because Gravenberch has been superb, as has Konate. Luis Diaz is back into form. You look at what he's done up top with Gakpo now, and even Nunes is getting on the score sheet. I thought Szoboszlai against City was outstanding. I've got to be real. I didn't think that some of these players were good enough for Liverpool, if I'm honest with you. Curtis Jones is another one that I thought was quite a good squad player, but now you're starting to see when he plays, he's been one of the better players on the pitch. So I think you've got to look at what he's done for the whole of that team. And as I say, I think they can go up a level as well and another gear as well. And I think to be 9 points clear at this point, as an Arsenal fan, there's a lot of people I speak to that thought that was going to be Arsenal. That thought that, yeah, if you know what, City have a nightmare, it'll be us. We're going to go and win that league. And I think you have to look now and say, you know, those Arsenal fans that were looking at this Liverpool situation saying, if Arne Slot wins the league, then Arteta's got to be sacked, are now starting to go, oh, actually, I don't want Arteta sacked. So, yeah, actually, they have got a brilliant side. They always did have, and it was easy for Slot. Well, nonsense. Why did they have Liverpool fifth then? Why did they have Liverpool third, fourth? Like, see, I put them third. I thought they'd come behind City and Arsenal. Looks like they're going to potentially win it now. So I've been so impressed, Tel, and I've got to say, around about October, I spoke to Roms on my channel and I said, we're going to find out early December where Liverpool are at, because you've got Arsenal, you've got Chelsea, you've got Villa, you've got, I think there's obviously City involved in there, but they had Leverkusen and Real Madrid as well. And I thought all of that on top of each other, if you come out of that looking good, I think you'll go on to win the league. And they've literally drew one game to Arsenal. That's it. They've won the rest in every single one. And I'm like, that is unreal form. Like, to just drop 5 points so far in the whole of this season is mad. So, yeah, they keep going. It's going to be easy. Look, people are saying it's over. I kind of personally think it is. But for now, I think it can change. And the reason I say that is because if they go on and win everything else, they'll finish on 109 points, which is not going to happen, in my opinion, right? So they are going to drop points. A lot of people are saying it should be between 85 and 95 points normally that wins you the season. So that means there's a lot of points that they can still potentially drop now, because they put themselves in that position to get over 90 points. And the way they're playing, they just look like they're breezing. It doesn't even look like they're struggling to beat teams. Like, I haven't looked at Liverpool once and gone, wow, stressed. Arne Slot, I really like him, man. I really like him. I think he looks relaxed, cool, calm, collective. He doesn't look like he's stressed out on the sideline. I used to like the passion from Klopp, but sometimes it was quite intense and quite, in your face. I think Arne Slot's just going about his business very, very cleverly. And if I'm honest with you, the only thing they've got to worry about is the contract situation, because everything they're doing on the pitch at the moment is superb. And
the only thing they have to worry about, is themselves, man.
Yeah.
That's it. The only way they don't win the league this year is if they get carried away or something happens themselves. You know what I mean? Like, I just don't see City or Arsenal winning this league over Liverpool the way they're playing. And if they just stay focused on the goal, I think they win the league. I think it's that simple, man.
I think that what's got to happen is there's got to be a serious crumble for them not to now. Because when we were 8 points clear, Manchester City actually had a game in hand. So really, as long as you won that game in hand, it was only ever really 5 points. But even then, I was like, don't bottle it from here. Liverpool being 9 points and 11 off of you. Wow, we need to beat them at Anfield. You need to beat them in your following game, and they need to somehow lose another game. And that's if Arsenal win all the rest of their games, which ain't going to happen, let's face it. So, look, I'm sure Liverpool drop points. I don't know how many they're going to. I just don't see Liverpool right now. Let's just take 15 games, yeah? Because there's 25 to go, isn't there? Let's just take the next 15. Do you see Liverpool dropping in 4 of those 15 games? I just don't, if I'm honest with you. I just don't.
Not right now. I mean, I think the only way they don't win at Liverpool is if they collapse. This notion they're going to be found out, this notion that Slot's system is going to be exposed, I don't see it, because it's not overly expansive where teams might learn how to sort of absorb you and then find a hole on the counter. It's not overly defensive where they look like they're not going to score goals in certain games. They just have the balance so right. They can hold possession when they want to. And you saw it the second half against City. They just went, have the ball. Look, City ain't in the great attacking form at the minute, but they went, have the ball. Once you've got it, we're going to pinch it off you at the right times. They reserved a lot of energy. Their game management is amazing. He's turned players like Gravenberch, who look like flops, into one of the best midfielders in the league. Curtis Jones looking amazing defensively. And I know Van Dijk is one of the best centre-backs in the world, and it has been for a long time. but the way he has them organized, the way he has them drilled, they look so defensively sound. Maybe left back is maybe the only vulnerable area. And still, as much as they want a new left back, they've probably still got a better left back than most teams in the Premier League. This is on Liverpool now. And that, again, this isn't about building them up to knock them down. This isn't about being disingenuous. This is me being honest. I look at them and just think to myself, 9 points clear. Yes, we're only we're nearly halfway through the season, right? So we're getting towards 50%. There is no signs that they're going to slow down and fall off. The only thing that stops them, I will add one other thing, a collapse from them or a major series of injuries to key players. Touching wood, it doesn't happen. I don't like anyone getting hurt. But if Salah and Van Dijk get injured next week and miss the rest of the season, that can change things massively. But again, you don't make predictions based on whether or not you lose your best player.
And sorry, they've also got the January transfer window coming up.
True.
So for me, if they don't make the right signings in January and then Salah or Van Dijk did get injured, that's their own fault.
True.
Because they're in a similar situation to City in the sense that we knew that if Rodri got injured, we'd be screwed. Every City fan knew that. That's now happened. And now guess what? We're screwed. So if Liverpool do get an injury to Salah or Van Dijk and then they get screwed, but they didn't act on that in January, that's their own fault. So if I was a Liverpool fan, I'd be getting onto the board now, getting onto the owners saying, you've got to make sure that you invest, because Arsenal were in a very similar situation 2 years ago. Yeah. And they bought Trossard, Jorginho. They didn't do enough. Didn't do enough in January. And Liverpool, listen, Liverpool won the league anyway in recent times. So that they'll be more sort of like used to this anyway. But they've got to go out there. Liverpool fans now have to be getting onto the board. And they should start now for me. Yeah, don't start on January 1st. Start now. If I was a Liverpool fan, start making a racket now. Get the checkbook out in January, because then you're starting to build the pressure. Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So I'll be interested to see what they do in January. And by the way, there's no excuses about money. Yeah, they spent nothing. They spent 10 million in the summer. So they've got the money there. Don't let any of these like top Reds or anyone connected to the club or the club gaslight you and say, we've got no money, FFP. Yeah, Liverpool, one of the biggest football clubs in the world. You spent 10 million quid in the summer. You have money to spend. Don't let them gaslight you, man. That's what they try and do.
Plus, you're going for a league, which means you're going to win huge amounts of money. There'll be huge bonuses with sponsors. There's huge money to win. Let's just say they drop. Say they've got 100 million to spend until they get near FFP, and they go, you know what? Let's risk it for a biscuit and spend an extra 20, 30 million. With what you're going to win financially through winning the league, you're going to counteract that anyway. So, and I'm sure that all their sponsors have bonuses in them for if they win the league, payout and everything else. So yeah, they should be looking to invest. They should be, because they're in such a commanding position. They need to do everything in their power now to maintain it, because for Slot to come in the year one, taking over from Klopp, it's such a great achievement. It really, really is. And yes, I don't buy this notion of a rebuild. I said in the summer, people think I'm adding this in now. You boys have been doing the show with me the whole time. I said they'd be in the title race. I believe that they're a well-run club. What's his name? Martin Edwards. No, is it Martin Edwards? Is his name? Michael Edwards. Michael Edwards came back. They're run well. They're not perfect, but they're run well. And a lot of our Liverpool fans are making this comparison where they say the transition between Klopp to Slot and Shankly to Paisley is eerily similar. And it is to a certain degree. Obviously, let's see whether Slot goes on to do a Paisley. What Paisley achieved was just breathtaking as a manager. But you can't do that type of transition if you're not a well-run club. That transition wouldn't happen if a club rebuild was needed at the same time that Slot came in. You know, City need a bit of a squad rebuild. Again, that's still not the same as a club rebuild, as many Liverpool fans tried to sell it as in the summer. But all those things being equal, Slot's doing an amazing job. They should go for broke in January, buy what's needed, and pick up their second Premier League and their 20th league title. And I don't want them to win it, because it means they equal Man United's record of 20 league titles. But speaking objectively, that they've got to go big in Jan. I agree.
I think when you look at what we were doing in 2022, we were going into the January 2023 flying. We were doing what they're doing. We were flying. We were 8 points clear, blah, blah, blah. And everyone saw, oh my God, Arsenal are going to go and get Caicedo and Mudryk. This is unbelievable in January. This is crazy. This is going to take them to the next level. Now, at the time, Mudryk would have been a shocking signing now. But when you look at it, it was like a big signing. He was flying at Shakhtar, and Caicedo was superb at Brighton. And then our window ended up being Jorginho, Trossard and Kivior, right? And I know Manchester City fans, I'm sure LB would have been one of them, going, oh, thank God for that. Geez, that's not a very good window. I think Liverpool need to go now and go boom, 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 and then make me and LB go, oh my God, we all thought it was done anyway. That is definitely done now. Look who they brought in. I don't know who those players would be, but I just think that they need a couple of players just to give them a bit of a boost and then obviously sort these contracts out. If they would have got 2 brilliant signings in January and it was announced that Salah and Van Dijk have got contracts and Trent is looking to sign, Liverpool fans would be on cloud 9 and City fans and Arsenal fans would be like thinking.
What do you boys make of the Mo Salah stuff? He spoke about it twice now. And he, changing profile pictures. He seems like there's real public negotiations. L'Équipe in France today have stated that talks with his camp have started. Of course, understandably, that's been shut down by the British press straight away. But again, L'Équipe, fairly credible outlet in France. They've got no reason to lie. They've certainly got no reason to protect Liverpool, which is, again, sometimes why you've got to believe when it comes to transfers, the foreign press over the British press, because they have no allegiances to our clubs in the same way as certain outlets here do. Do you think it's a bit of a strange one because it's that they're maybe going to offer him a 1-year deal? Reportedly, it's nowhere near the money that he wants.
Exactly. So listen, it's a battle of the negotiation, right? Salah obviously wants a 2 or 3 year contract, right? And if you don't understand why, then you're a fool, right? He's getting on to 33. You don't want a 1-year deal. He wants a 3 years. He wants to maximize his earnings, right? And I genuinely think that he wants to stay at Liverpool. I don't think he wants to go to Saudi Arabia, right? Liverpool, on the other hand, look at him and go, you're amazing. You're arguably our greatest Premier League player of all time. However, at the end of the season, you're going to be 33. If we give you a 3-year contract, you get him for 36. We can't give you a 400 grand a week, 500 grand a week contract for 3 years. Because at some point, we'll have to accept, as much as you love the guy, at some point, he is going to fall off. Everybody falls off at some point, right? It might be next year.
As you
know. It might
be
be the year after. It might be 5 years. That's the problem that Liverpool have got right now. They're in a really tricky situation because they've got to think about the football club. Yeah. Now, if it's me personally, I give him the contract. Because I don't see how, when he's getting all these goals, he's creating all these chances, I think he's the best player in the world at this moment in time, how you can't give him a contract. And I think as a Liverpool fan, you've just got to accept that it's a bit of a risk because you could give him a 3-year deal and next year it could be trash. But what's the alternative? You let him go PSG and the guy rips it up for the next 5 years and you're sitting there going, we should have really given him a contract. So it's a tricky one, but for me, I think you've got to give it him, man. I think you've got to give him the contract because he earns it, man. He's best player in the world right now. He's scoring every goal. You go on his transfer market and look at the Premier League fixture. Every game, goal, assist, goal. I think there's 2 games this year in the Premier League that he's failed to register a goal or an assist. 2. I think you've just got to do it, man. I think you've got to get it. And he's not going to accept a 1-year contract. So you either give him a 2 or 3-year contract or you let him go. But I tell you what, if you let him go, yeah, I hope my club's knocking on the door. Yeah, because he's the best player in the world. I'd take him for 3 years. Free transfer, by the way, as well. Well done. So I just think you've got to sign him up, man. I think you've got to just accept the risk and just be like, yo, he could just be crap next year. Like, I don't think he will, but that could happen.
Yeah, see, I agree with LB. And you look at him, like when he rips his shirt off, he's not exactly looking unfit, is he? Bless him. So I think when you look at what Salah is about right now, you don't compare him to anybody in world football right now in his position. You don't just go and walk into another club and go, right, can I go and find another Mo Salah? You don't. I think it's the same with Trent, and I think it's the same with Van Dijk. If I'm honest, I think all 3 of them, if they were to go, would be an absolute shambles, criminal, sackable offence. If I'm honest, from most of the board, heads would need to roll. I happen to think that all 3 of them could stay. I think Trent's the most likely to leave because I think at his age he's won everything at football, and unlike the other 2, he's actually got sort of 7 years left in the game at the very, very top level. And I think if you believe that Real Madrid is the next move for you, it's a different knock, right? So I think he's the one that could go. I think you just offer all of them contracts, and even if you have to go 2-3 years for both Salah and Van Dijk, then do it because right now Van Dijk isn't exactly showing like signs of decline either. If I'm honest with you, if you had to pick players in the position in world football, they would be in the mentions, 100%. So if you're looking at them being kind of options for being one of the best in the world in their position, you keep them. You know, it's like with KDB. KDB is showing signs that he's declining in terms of his fitness. But when he's on the pitch, if you still believe he's delivering, you should be keeping him.
Yeah. So
Potson, right? So.
I keep on hearing from Liverpool fans, well, why are you not doing it with KDB? KDB's a completely different situation.
Totally agree.
He's played 3 football matches for us this season. He gets injured 2 or 3 times every year. I looked at Salah's record yesterday, injury record. It's absolutely stunning. I think he's missed like 3 months worth of football in total for Liverpool since he's been there. He joined in 2017 or something like that. In what's that, like 7 years, 8 years? He's missed like 3 months total.
Yeah, I
Kevin
feel
De Bruyne
like
missed half a year last year. He's hardly kicked a ball for us this season. Please do not compare the Kevin De Bruyne situation to Salah. It's nothing the same.
I don't think any Liverpool fan agrees with what FSG are doing in their heart of hearts. I think, though, they feel, because I haven't liked Jamie Carragher's stance on this, although he said one thing that I think holds true. He said that Liverpool are a football club that do not have a tradition of giving people what they want. And if you go back in our lifetimes, as far back as McManaman, you look at Michael Owen, you look at so many different players that have just not been given the contracts or not been given the money they want, and they've left. So that may happen. Yeah, they may not give him what he wants and he ends up leaving. But the Liverpool fans I see defending it, you can't put a 32-year-old on 350, 400 grand a week. You can with Mo Salah.
Why not?
He doesn't look like he's going to fall off. As you say, he's not. If he was scoring like this, but coming off injured a lot, having to be subbed early, getting a little bit pudgy around the edges, then I think you could look at it and say, maybe we've got to be sensible here. Maybe we've got to be smart here. But I don't think what they're doing, though, is they're getting ahead of the game. They're planting that seed so that when he doesn't sign a new deal, they can spin it into a positive and say, well, I've always said this is what I would do. I just can't believe you've got your greatest ever Premier League player still at the peak of his powers. And I don't think Liverpool fans are comprehending this. You may never have a better attacker. It may take you 20 or 30 years to get one even as good. Because if you go through the history of all of our football clubs and look at our greatest strikers, greatest midfielders, greatest centre-backs, no matter how good your team has been afterwards, leagues you won, how hard is it to replicate that player? I still don't think City have had a centre-back as good as Vincent Kompany since he left. I don't think Arsenal definitely haven't had an attacker at Henry's level. You could argue, barring Henry, you haven't had a striker at Ian Wright's level since he left. Like genuine number 9 at that level.
The thing is, Terry,
it's so hard to do.
I think the one thing that you're wrong on is that I don't think Liverpool can spin this into a positive if he leaves. Because the thing is, right, the difference between Salah and Trent, in my opinion, is I think Trent wants to go to Real Madrid. Yeah, I think he wants to leave. I don't think Salah wants to leave. So if he leaves because Liverpool don't give him what he wants, he'll end up doing an interview and he'll end up saying something like, I never wanted to leave, I wanted to stay, but Liverpool didn't give me the contract. And it will make Liverpool look very, very bad. You can see it already. And then all the Liverpool fans will be piling on the club saying, why didn't you give him the contract?
So I understand that. And I agree with you, it'll look bad. But we know Liverpool, their fans and their PR are different level, bruv. They are different level of spin. There's a comment here that I want to go to from Z that says RVP was better than Ian Wright. Can I ask you a question on this, Potsy? RVP was amazing, especially for Man United. But for Arsenal, there's no way any gooner thinks RVP was better than Ian Wright, surely.
Nah, Ian Wright is my hero. One of the reasons to support the club. Grew up loving him. And he's one of the best goal scorers Arsenal have ever had. Facts. And the facts say it. It's only Henry's better him. So, Van Persie might be technically better than Ian Wright. I've got nothing to say about as a goal scorer for Arsenal. Ian Wright leaves Van Persie.
Yeah, I was about to say something. I would say for RVP and his Arsenal career, barring that final season before he joined United, his availability was his big. If he'd have been available that whole time, maybe. But availability and technical ability have to go into it. And this is what I mean. When you have your greatest ever player, like Liverpool had with Salah, you may get another good goal scorer to go up front to replace the goals. You may get another really good right-sided attacker. The likelihood of them being as good or better and as available as Mohamed Salah, the likelihood is so low because if you just go through the history of the game, it's a rarity to move on from your best and get someone better and then someone better and someone better. Maybe City have kind of done it a little bit. They had a really good team that had the Silvers and companies, Agueros. They were some of their best players ever. And then they went on to another level. But City have reached a level that it's hard to go above. Do you know what I'm saying? So it's always down after that, in my opinion. So, yeah, Liverpool are crazy for me. They've got to get that deal done. Let's go to some of these comments here. First one says, if Slots was a fluke, everyone be like, I knew it. Of course, he's going to foul after Klopp, etc. But now when he is amazing, it's Klopp's team, rubbish. Well, I was going to say this, by the way. If, a lot of the Arteta outers have done this, it looks bad for Arteta if Slot wins. But based on the Arteta out logic, this wouldn't be Slot's league title. It'd be Klopp's because it's Klopp's team, not because no players are bought.
Yeah, I think for me...
That's the problem with that logic. This is the problem with Arteta outers. They end up eating themselves with their own logic because they're so agenda-driven. But
I think for me, you can be very balanced, right?
Yeah.
You can say, Slot's doing a great job. Yeah, he's doing better than everybody thought, and the team's playing great. You can also accept that he's got two unicorn players there in Mohamed Salah and Virgil van Dijk. And when they leave, if they leave this summer, it will be interesting to see what happens next year. I think that's fair, isn't it?
Yeah, I think that's really fair. And I think as well, people like exactly what Terry said. Some of the Arsenal fan base, they just absolutely amaze me, if I'm honest. Because, if Arne Slot finishes above Arteta, he should be sacked. And now it's changed all of a sudden. Oh, actually, this squad was brilliant anyway. And it's like, hang on a minute, like this is a brilliant squad with Klopp that couldn't win the league. And now it's just they've completely changed. And it's because they don't want to, admit that Arteta might underachieve this season. Let's be real. The reason we're 9 points behind is not because of Slot. It's because of Mikel Arteta. That's the reason we're 9 points behind, in my honest opinion. It's not Slot's fault that he's 9 points ahead of us. So I just find it odd that all of a sudden, it's not Arteta, Pep's too good. Now it's not Arteta, Slot's too good. So come on, we've got to do the job and get across the line sooner or later, right? Come on, goodness, jeez.
Harold here says that English fans' defeatism is unbelievable. Man City and Arsenal win over Liverpool. Arsenal only need one win over 24 games. Sorry, City and Arsenal beat Liverpool. Arsenal only need one win over 24 games, and you guys say it's over. Come on now, it's not over.
No, Arsenal can still win the league, I think. I think for City it's too much at the moment, but Arsenal is still in there. I think Arsenal need to beat Liverpool when they play them next, and they need to hope City beat Liverpool when we play them next. But I think for City, it's just one step too far for me. But Arsenal are still in the race, man.
Yeah, and also City are not playing well and haven't found their feet yet. It's if your form clicks into gear now, you go on a 15-game winning run, maybe. Pep has ruined this league. People crowning Liverpool champions after 25 games with 25 games to go is mad.
Yeah, what's funny is everyone always said City have turned this league into the Bundesliga, and now people are saying Liverpool have won the league after what is it, 15 games or something? Has Slot ruined the league? Slot's ruined the Prem.
Can I just say as well, there's people in the chat still blaming red cards as the reason that we're 9 points behind. Please just let it go. It really frustrates the hell out of me. Really, really frustrating. Honestly, there's not much that rattles me these days. But
that is part of the reason. That is part of the reason, though, isn't it? The red cards.
Yeah, but they're making out that the referees giving us red cards, and they shouldn't have been red cards. And that's
wow, I see what you're saying.
That's what they're saying.
Pep spent 100 million on Grealish, not got a tune out of him. No other club could just cast off 100 million on players. That's before we talk about his defensive buys.
Yeah, but that's inflation. I'm sure if you went to find one of Fergie's players, back in 2002 that failed and done the inflation thing, you'd find someone. What about that Varane guy? How much would he have been worth now with inflation?
Won a league title, though.
Grealish won a treble and 4 titles on the row.
Yeah, but
not stop Rob lad sending a super chat.
Varane played well. As I've always called Jack Grealish, we had a player like Jack Grealish at Man United at the time. We called him Luke Chadwick. He was just part of the team.
We're doing this again, are we? Luke Chadwick.
You just got Luke Chadwick. The thing is, as well, he's better looking than Luke. That's what helps. So that's what it is. If he wasn't gorgeous, Jack Grealish, and had them calves, he'd be getting cooked. But it's his eye candy. They always say life's easier for better looking people. That's probably why us three have been fucked. Do you know what I mean? So
speak for yourself, lad.
There we go. You mentioned Arsenal earlier. It's a big game tomorrow night. Arsenal host Manchester United. Ruben's Reds come to town. I've seen a lot of Arsenal fans, including a lot of the Arteta outers, because I must have seen about 3 or 4 titles from Lee. They're going to smash them. United, they're going to get ruined. Gooners feel very, very, very... I mean, I say that you're scary and get called out for it. Now they're going to smash my team. So how do you see it going? Do you think you're going to smash Man United and hurt us? or do you think it might be a closer affair, Potsy?
I think we would have smashed you if you had Ten Hag, that's for sure. Although saying that, we never used to. For whatever reason, we just couldn't seem to smash Ten Hag teams. I don't know why. But no, I don't think we're going to smash you. I think we're going to beat you, but I don't think we're going to smash you. I think Ruben Amorim will set you up in a way that will be difficult and more difficult. All I will say is the last time we played Free at the back against Sporting, we absolutely destroyed them. So you'll have to sort that out if it's going to be anything like that old Sporting team. But I do think that you will be harder to beat. It's always a good game to tell. Let's be real, actually. Taking banter aside, I always really enjoy this game. It's one of the first fixtures that I look at when the fixture list comes out. Excuse me, along with the North London derby, it's the one that I look at because I see Manchester United as our rivals, and unfortunately, we've been rivals for the wrong reasons over the last few years, trying to scrape into Champions League football. But growing up, it was an unbelievable rivalry, and I think it's one that's never come close to it, really. If you look at what Pep and Klopp have done and some of the other rivals there's tried to be, there's never been anything like Arsenal, Manchester United. Growing up, it was phenomenal. It was massive to be a part of, but even as a neutral, people would say, oh yeah, Wenger v Fergie and Keane v Vieira and all this kind of stuff. And unfortunately, it has lost a little bit of it, but the fan base is still always there. The fans still don't like each other. Other than Tottenham, it is still the team that I hate the most. And I have to say that I do think that this will be a good fixture. I actually think it will be interesting to see how the team have got used to under Amorim, because in the last few games you've started to actually score some goals, and that's something I had question marks about. So if you remember over the last few weeks, I sort of said, who's going to get the goals at Manchester United? And to be fair, you've actually scored some goals. Rashford's getting on the score sheet, Xerxes getting on the score sheet, we've seen Bruno get back into the score sheet. So actually you've started to play obviously a hell of a lot better. I think the new system will take some time. I think it's interesting to see what it will do with Lissandro and Mino being out, because obviously both of those are out. I imagine Luke Shaw and Ugarte will probably come in. So I'm looking forward to it, mate. I am. And I think that if we continue to play the way that we are, I do think we'll have enough. We'll have too much for you. The problem is we've scored 13 goals in the last 3 games. So everybody expects that to continue and us to put 4 or 5 past Manchester United like we did West Ham, Forest and Sporting Lisbon. I don't know that we will do that, but I do think that we'll win.
Yeah, I don't know. Arsenal are interesting football club, aren't they? You think they're an interesting football club?
How do you mean?
Just like, I don't know, man. There's always something going on at your football club, isn't it? You know what I mean? And it's like, it's just interesting. It's just a very.
What's going on now? What do you mean?
You should have more of those all for nothing documentaries that you've done. You know what I mean? We need some more of those. I don't know. I think Arsenal for me. I think that will be a good game against United, and obviously FA Cup as well. That's going to be tasty. Ooh. But we got Salford as well, which is pretty mad.
I like that.
Yeah, but listen, I think for Arsenal, for me, I think they've just got to win something this year. Just anything. Carabao Cup, FA Cup, whatever. Just you got to win something, man. Do you know what I mean? Like, you've got to stop this.
Why not Champions League? Why didn't you say Champions League?
Well, you need heritage, you know.
Because of my heritage. Yeah. I mean, look, you're right. We do have to win something.
You just have to win something. And listen, is a Carabao Cup enough for Arsenal this season, given how much money they spend, given where you're at, given the fact you've challenged for the league twice in a row? Probably not. But it's better than nothing. And maybe if you win something, then you can start the, bit of winning mentality. You won something. So, you know me. This is why I've said for years that I think Arteta's made a huge mistake not taking those domestic cups a little bit more seriously, because I think that would have really helped you in the title races and stuff and that winning mentality. But I don't know. I just think it's time now, isn't it? Everyone's just waiting for Arsenal to win a trophy now, because if not, it's like, what are we doing here? Do you know what I mean? So listen, they're looking all right at the moment. They're cooking. They are cooking. They're scoring goals. Saka for me he's having a great season in terms of like his output. I don't know too much about in terms of performances. I don't watch every single Arsenal game, but every time I look at the game, he's scoring or assisting pretty much. Odegaard's back. They've got a lot of the players back. That Timber, really like him. I think he's a brilliant player. So let's see what happens, man. Again, I think all 3 of our clubs, be interesting to see what we do in January. Same with Arsenal. What are they going to do in January? But yeah, I think for Arsenal now, it's put up or shut up time, innit? They've hyped this team up. They've hyped this manager up. And it's like, if you don't win anything this year, then I ain't taking you seriously no more. So let's see what they can do, man. But they're a good side, man. Partey's in there. He's cooking with rice. And yeah, let's see. But they've got to win something, even if it's just a Carabao.
Yeah, look, I don't disagree that we have to win something. I mean, for me, we've got to win something and challenge. for him to have had a successful season. If we challenge and we don't win anything and we finish, I don't know, 3 points off of Liverpool, if it's going to be Liverpool, in the game to go, I just don't know what we're doing. Like, I really don't know. When is it going to happen? You know, look, it hasn't been kind on us, the FA Cup draws. I understand what people are saying in terms of the first one, but you've got to beat everyone to win the cup, right? You've got to beat everybody, whether it's Salford or Manchester City. You've got to get through the next rounds. I just think it is a bit like, wow, really? Like I think Manchester United and Arsenal came out at the third and fourth balls.
Yeah, but at the same time, you're at home, right? It's United. It's not like you're playing Liverpool, right? They're still mid-table side.
No, I'm
not even trying to dig on United there. I'm just saying, like, it is still United. It's not like, I know it'll be a big game and that, but like, you are at home and United are still pretty mid. Do you know what I mean?
I agree.
You should
it's
still
not the
be
kindest
winning
of draws. It's not the kindest of draws. It's not the worst of draws. Last season we got Liverpool at home. Season before that we got Man City away. It was like, come on, man, just give us. I just wanted a Tamworth or something this year. That was all. But to get Man United at home, I was like, oh, right, really? But look, I still think we can beat them, and I still think that we can beat Palace in the Carabao Cup. So at the moment, I'm not crying about draws. I expect it to get harder as it gets along. That's why I wanted somebody a little bit easier than Manchester United at home, but we'll take it. And look, I do think that we can win a trophy this season. This is what I said. I don't look at the squad and think, wow, that should walk the league. I don't think that, right? I do think it should win a trophy, though. I mean, let's just be real. Ten Hag can win a trophy in 2 years. Yeah. In the last 2 years, we can. So Mikel Arteta needs to take both of those domestic cups and the Champions League extremely serious now. And I will go as far to say, if it got to a stage where we were going to be in a position where we have to win that game, that midweek game, whether it be one of the cup games, I would rather take that one more seriously than the weekend game if we're still 9 points clear of Liverpool, because the trophy is more important than trying to get to 3 points behind Liverpool, in my honest opinion. Because getting 3 points behind Liverpool doesn't mean you go dump yourself out of trophies, go 3 points behind Liverpool and still lose the league, then you win nothing again. Like, that's what we've done for 2-3 years now. We have to sacrifice some of these games if it gets to that stage to win this trophy, man.
Yeah, well, that's why with the FA Cup draw, as much as I didn't want to go away to Arsenal, City, or Liverpool, Newcastle as well, those 3 away games for Man United are always horrible, and I don't want any of them ever at any stage of the FA Cup. But I was thinking about the draw and the team Arsenal will put out should you close the gap on Liverpool. So let's say that's normally the first weekend after New Year's that the FA Cup third round is on, normally around the 3rd or 4th of January, whatever it is. And I'm thinking, if, say, Newcastle beat Liverpool tomorrow night and you beat Man United, we'll get onto that game in a minute, and then maybe Liverpool draw one more game, but you've won all in that period and you're suddenly 4 points behind them, I fancy our chances more in the FA Cup, because I think what you will then do is rotate a little bit, because you're like 4 points off the top of the league now, where you're right. Where if you're 9 points off still by then, or maybe Man United do a madness tomorrow and draw with you, or nick a win, and suddenly you're 12 points off the top of the league when it comes to the FA Cup game. There's no reason to not play the full strength team in every single Cup and Champions League game for the rest of the season then, because by the time you get to that part of January, we're more than halfway through the season. Is there really going to be a 13, 14 point swing with Liverpool? Probably not at that stage. So I think the FA Cup third round team you put out, I think maybe dictated. And by the way, maybe Man United as well, though, because if we keep winning league games and we're a point off the Champions League, just putting this out there, maybe Amorim says, right, I want to win trophies, but there's a chance you're a Champions League football next year and we're improving. So yeah, I'm not looking too far ahead to that game, although I did spend a lot of time thinking about it. So that doesn't really make sense.
This might be controversial, right? I think it's a great tie for United.
How come?
Right, because this manager's coming into United, right? And he's got off to obviously a bit of a decent start. You're scoring goals, as Potsy was saying, right? You're going away to Arsenal. It's not a free hit, right? Because they're your rivals. You said before, like, you know, there's a rivalry between you and Arsenal. But all the pressure is going to be on Arsenal. It's at the Emirates. And if you would have got someone like a West Ham or like a mid-table side, all the pressure is then on Amorim. And I just think, like, you're in the Europa League, whatever, yeah? Like, for me, I just think, like, this is, so long as you don't get battered, I think this is a good tie for United.
No, I get that. I feel a little bit like that about tomorrow night. I don't buy into this free hit, zero pressure nonsense. There's pressure because I don't want to beat him, because the beating sets back confidence. I don't want to lose, although there is this part of me that thinks if we were to win, we help Liverpool get towards number 20, and I don't want it to be that easy for them. But if I'm being honest, everyone knows I've got respect for my rivals as much as I don't want them to win. I honestly couldn't care less about the title race at the moment. As in, I do as the host of the Football Terrace and as a football fan, but from a Man United fan perspective, I don't care if it helps Liverpool win the league. You know, sometimes you get banned. Like, what Man United will get bantered tomorrow if we were to win, because you'll get people say, you've helped Liverpool catch you. Right now, maybe my mind will change nearer the time. I don't care. Right now, I couldn't give a shit about who.
United have to start focusing on themselves, man.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I'm in that mindset of I'd like Arsenal to win the league over Liverpool, and it's obvious why. Not because I twerk for Arsenal fans, but Liverpool are a bigger rival. The same as I'd rather Liverpool win it over City, because I think the 5-peat is such a tremendous record. No one's ever get anywhere near it. It's even harder than a 4-peat. I don't want it to happen. I've got a higher. By the way, I'd rather Chelsea win it over all of you, because I see Arsenal as a bigger rival than Chelsea. So there's a hierarchy to all of this, right? And that's just how I think and feel. But I don't care who we help tomorrow. I'm not going to write Amarin off. I'm not going to write off the rebuild if it doesn't go right tomorrow. But I'm putting some pressure on the team. I want a performance where we're in the game. I want a performance where we're not getting ripped through every 30 seconds. I want a performance where if Arsenal do get the win, which they should, they're the favourites. They're in better form than us. They're a better team than us at the moment. But I want a game where they come off the pitch and at the very least say, that was hard work. That's what I want from this man. I want to be hard to beat. I want to be difficult. And for me, it's, listen, I've been very nice about Arsenal the last couple of years because I think you've improved a lot. And I think some of the professional pundit commentary around you, I think, has been really poor in that time. What's touching my leg? Is that one of my kids? It is. What was touching my leg then? It's one of those things where I just sort of feel like I've been nice to anything else, but I don't care. I want to win tomorrow. Do I think we will? Right now, no. My gut feeling says a narrow loss, which I don't want. I'd take a draw before a ball is kicked. The one thing I'm really excited about seeing tomorrow, I don't think he'll start, but Lenny Euro has been announced as travel with the squad. Seeing him come into the team, I think is really, really big for us, especially with Lissandro being out. I actually wouldn't mind him getting a start, even if it's coming off the 60 minutes for someone like a Maguire. I'd love to see him get an opportunity. I'm really excited to see Ahmad. And also, I'm really excited to see the team and its structure against the much better side. No disrespect to Ipswich, Bodo Glimt, and Everton. I think we'll see a lot more of where we are in the grand scheme of things during this game. So, my only hope, of course, my main hope is winning the game. I want to win it. My biggest ask, though, is that we just don't be too easy to play against. We don't hold 4 or 5 goals or anything crazy like that. Walk away with a bit of pride, walk away with some positives, and then keep the growth going. So I do feel as well, we play City in 2 games, and you can't help this. I just feel like both games have come a little bit too soon for us, if that makes sense. We haven't actually had more than 2 training sessions. It's just been match preparation. So the players haven't even had a coaching session yet with the manager, which is crazy in reality. But look, it is what it is. I hope we win. No disrespect to any Gooners out there that I know a lot of them love the channel. But I want to beat you. Sorry about the title race, but I want to beat you because my club is more important to me.
Fair play. No, of course you want to win, man. And the thing is, people will say, Man United fans, I've heard them, doesn't really bother me about tomorrow. It's just a free hit. Like, of course it does. They love beating Arsenal. They would absolutely love to beat Arsenal. There is none of this, we lost. I don't really care. Of course you do, man. You hate losing Arsenal. I hate losing Man United. That's the way it is. So, look, I'm quietly confident that we can get 3 points. I think our right-hand side at the moment is cooking. Saka, Odegaard, and Timber have been superb down that right-hand side. We started to look a lot better in midfield. Jorginho's come in actually and done really, really well. Thomas Partey is obviously got a knock, and we don't know if he's fit or not. We're going to find that out hopefully tomorrow. But when we get to a run that we're doing at the moment, it's looking very good going forward. It really is. Look, we can always get caught though, and we do concede goals at the Emirates. So look, I actually think Manchester United could quite come out the blocks quite quick and could actually go 1-0 up, but I just think we've got too much quality, and I think we will overturn that. We will nick a win. That's what I think of that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just interested about the whole of tomorrow night. First, again, though, I don't understand why they couldn't have put the Liverpool City game on Saturday and then had a couple of games tonight and then tomorrow. Like, the fact they put them all on at the same time, just as football fans, it's hard to watch 4 matches. I know it's all on Prime, right? But unless you've got 3 or 4 screens, TVs, which fortunately I do in the studio, I have. But it's like, how do people watch all these? We pay for it, but you can't fucking watch all the games. It's so annoying.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's always going to be some overlap, but I do think they're taking the piss. You could have had Liverpool and City games tonight, Man United, Arsenal tomorrow, and Chelsea's game, and then Spurs on Thursday. And I know I've been a little bit top 6 centric, but let's not pretend that it isn't our clubs that get 85-90% of the total viewership of the Premier League.
Yeah.
No disrespect to everybody else. Like, let's just spread that out a little bit, in my personal opinion. Marcy here says mid-table, but 4 points off City. Guess you are too. Well, one more defeat, you might be mid-table.
We're fifth. Maybe send that super chat next week, Marcy. You might be right, but we're fifth at the moment. Don't make it as worse as it is, man. Come on.
Yeah. I was going to ask you guys about City. Do you think City will make the top 4? Any risk of not making the top 4 this year?
Nah.
Well, isn't it the top 5 as well? I've been told it's
probably
pretty much
top 5.
I've been told it's pretty much top 5, so I think we get top 5.
They won't finish lower than third. Come on, what are we doing here? They won't.
I'd love to listen. Although it isn't a trophy, just for a bit of banter and just for what's it called when you win something? I nearly said bargaining rights. That's not the right word. No, we beat you in the FA Cup final. Been that long. Last English club to win a major trophy. I'll have you all know. What's it called when you bragging rights? Bragging rights is the word I'm looking for. Just for bragging rights, I'd love to finish above City now this season from this point. It just would be hilarious from how it started to how it ended. It'd just be a nice way of sticking it to them in the middle. LB won't be saying mid-table if we beat City. Oh, yeah.
Well, if some buts say, man, for these United fans. Let's see what happens, innit? Let's see what happens.
That's it. Mikel Arteta is to blame for us being behind. We should be 6 points max off, in my opinion, but don't dismiss them. Scandalous red cards versus Brighton and City. 2 things can be true at once, is what Dial Square says.
Oh, dear me. Okay. I hate talking about these red card things because for me, I don't look at that as the reasons that we are. But
scandalous red cards.
If you think it's scandalous, Trossard smashing the ball, booting up in the air in front of the ref, and Rice kicking the ball away. If you think that's scandalous, then that's all good. For me, we should have been beating Brighton before that red card because we missed sitters, and Havertz actually missed a sitter after it to win.
Yeah, he did. Why did they never speak about this in that game, in the Brighton game? Bro, he literally went 1-on-1. He scores the goal at 85th minute. You win the game. But it's always the referees.
It's the referees' fault that we are where we are. Maybe I should just accept that. Maybe that's what it is. The reason Arsenal will not win the league this season is because the referees don't want us to, and they don't like Arsenal. There we go. Maybe that's what it is.
This comment here says, weird, Arsenal still in the race, but not Chelsea.
Well, Chelsea are in the race, and I think people need to look at that and say that if Arsenal are, Chelsea are. The reason people don't expect Chelsea to continue it is because their squad's not as good as Arsenal is in terms of they haven't got, well, I still think they're about 3 players away from actually being up there, and right up there as well, by the way, because I think Chelsea have been fantastic this season. I think that's the only reason that people are looking at it is that Chelsea aren't expected to be in a title race. They're kind of top 4 going for it, but they can find themselves in it. If they keep going the way they're going, they've got a definite chance of being up there with us because, let's be real, I think the difference is, right, Terry, Arsenal are disappointed. Arsenal fans are really disappointed at where they are. Chelsea fans are buzzing at where they are. That kind of says it all, really. That they're on the same points as us and they're absolutely buzzing about it. Whereas we're like really disappointed because we feel like we've underachieved. So that kind of tells you where both clubs are at, really. Chelsea are kind of happy to be where they are. That's probably the best way to look at it. So,
also, like Enzo Maresca doesn't think you guys are in a title race yet. I think mathematically at this point you are. My just honest opinion is, I said by the end of this season, I think you'll show yourselves as being good enough to be in the title contention next year. If you can get it between 9 to say 5 points between now and the January window, if you buy really well, I think people's stances may change. But yeah, Chelsea have done very, very well this year. Do I think you'll win the league? No. Do I think you could be in a title race? Potentially, yes. The reason why Arsenal being spoken about more is they've been in the last 2. The reason why nobody's writing off Man City, even though they're in an awful bit of form, is because they've won so many titles in recent years. That's the fundamental difference. It's about having the sort of the players in the team now having had that experience in recent times to go on. It's almost like if you're a Chelsea fan, if you were in a cup final with with Spurs, we would all probably predict Chelsea to win, even if Spurs were higher than you in the league, because typically speaking, you win most of your finals. They don't. So there's something about experience that goes into that as well. LB, stay humble, yeah? You better pray we beat Arsenal.
Look at these United fans trying to force their way into the conversation. Get in there, make it about you. That's what they're doing. You see that meme on Twitter? Get in there, the guy's looking in the mirror. Look, get in there, make it about you. This is what these United fans are doing. Martin, bro. Big up Marcy,
man. Terry, do you think United will end the very last bit of hope Arsenal fans are holding on to? Listen, do you feel that pressure at all to this comment from Liverpool fan? Do you feel that pressure that if United were to beat you, not only would there be some bragging rights and everything else, but if United beat you tomorrow and Liverpool win and you go 12 points behind, would you say that's it for your title race, Potsy?
I think it's it for it already, until things change. But that is definitely putting a nail in the coffin for me. 12 points. I mean, wow. Because I still think Liverpool and Arsenal are going to drop points, but I can't be certain that Arsenal are definitely not going to. A lot of people saying that Arsenal go on this run now. It looks like we've got some fantastic fixtures in our favour. We don't leave London until mid-January. But for me, I think that there's the kind of, I don't know that Arsenal are, what's going to happen if they get another injury? How are we going to nurse another injury? And that was essentially why I didn't believe Arsenal would win the league, because I didn't think we had enough cover for me in certain positions. And that was why. But if we lose tomorrow night and Liverpool win, done and dusted, completely. And if City are out of it with 11 points behind, and that's City, then Arsenal definitely are with 12 behind. So look, I think there's definitely some people saying have some chest as an Arsenal fan, never give up. My problem is I've seen this movie so many times and we lose a cluster of games and we go on a lovely run, which everyone's now expecting us to do. Everyone gets hyped up again. Oh my God, it's only a few points. And then we'll have a little cluster of defeats again. That is what will happen. And then we'll win again and we'll go, oh.
Do you not think it's crazy how the league could legit be done by the weekend?
Crazy, isn't it?
Not even someone good. If Liverpool win their next two games and Arsenal drop points and then one of their next two, it's done. It's over. There's literally that's for me, that is league talk over. It would be the biggest collapse in football, in Premier League football, in terms of a title ever.
Yeah, it would.
It would have to be.
Yeah,
12
it
points.
would be now. It would be now. 9 points would be crazy to throw that away.
What's the most that's ever been done? Not including games in hand, because that's just skews it. What's the most that's ever been done in terms of actual? What was it when Newcastle blew it, Terry?
12 points, I think. Biggest point
was that game in hand though, or was it?
Yeah, I'm gonna go and check now. I'm gonna go and check now.
13 points, but I might be wrong. Newcastle.
See in the chat saying it was 4. Oh,
yeah, so no, it was 13 points. So here it says, whoa, it goes, that's right. Arsenal hold the record for the greatest points deficit overcome en route to Premier League title. They fought back from 13 points behind United in 97-98 season. Although Arsenal had a game in hand at that point. So that was with a game in hand. So there's 10 points if you're going to do what you're asking for. Man United did a 12-point gap. Checking here and found themselves in 7th and 12 points behind the leaders. So we, on the 5th of December 1992, level on games, we were 12 points behind.
So 12 is the most it's ever been.
12 is the most without, and we did a 12-point deficit over Newcastle. We did a 12-point deficit in 92-93 season, the first ever campaign, and we did a 12-point deficit, all equal games, over Newcastle in 95-96. So Fergie has done it twice. In 96-97, we did a 10-point deficit, level on games, with Liverpool being joint on the games with us as well. 2000 and 2003, Man United did another 10-point deficit. 2008, 2009, United did another 10-point deficit. So we've done 10 points 3 times and 12 points twice, Man United. Arsenal have done 10 points once. If you want to, if we're doing by your thing of game in hand, if we're doing no game in hands and Arsenal 13, yeah. But United have done it 10 points 3 times and 12 points twice. Fergie was the greatest, wasn't he? Fucking hell. I didn't even remember that. That's crazy.
So yeah, it would be one of the biggest sort of collapses in Premier League title race we've ever seen. Hence, it's probably unlikely. Yeah. Hence, Liverpool can win the league basically this weekend.
Yeah, that'd be crazy. I just,
If
yeah, it would,
Arsenal
be. It would
yeah.
be. It would, if they end up 12, 13 points clear. If they end up more, again, it would. If it ends up being, say, imagine like, yeah, it is. It would be. It just would be. There's no two ways about it. It would be one of the worst as well. Do you know what I mean? So, again, we know Arsenal did 13, but we were looking at with no games in hand, level on games, because by the end of this weekend, everyone will be level on games. So you've got to do like for like when you do comparisons, my friend. You can't have different.
That was Fergie. That was Wenger's first full season when it at Arsenal, 97-98 season. Did you say?
Yeah.
That was mad.
Full season, yeah.
Double winning year.
Yeah,
that was when we were good. We were great, I could say.
Yeah, crazy stats out there. Some of these things are crazy. Super chat here says everyone blaming Teta, but if Edu did his job right in the summer, maybe injury crisis wouldn't have been as bad. He definitely deserves criticism, but keep everyone accountable.
Oh, mate, trust me, the board and the ownership are just as much to blame as the manager, because this is their project. This is their manager. This is their process, as everyone keeps telling me. So they're fully involved, mate. Trust me, Esteban. They ain't getting away with nothing either. Our owners, trust me, I'm not a fan, and I was not a fan of Edu, who brought Declan Rice and Ødegaard in, so everyone thought he was a genius, but he also brought in Lokonga and Tavares and Fabio Vieira and Runnison and people like that. So let's not forget that rubbish, right? Trust me, we'll be better off without Edu, in my opinion, if we get the appointment right. But that's why I've got to put pressure on the ownership, like tell. Do you know what I mean? Because like the Glazers and the Cronkies, people, I spoke about this the other day during previews for this game tomorrow night. I think that people just love, oh my God, they must love those owners, because look how much they spend. Look at what money they spend. They're such a big spending club. Yeah, but look at the money that Arsenal and Manchester United have completely wasted. And look how much we've spent and how little we've won in that time in terms of the ambition of what we should be winning. Because we've both basically just picked up a few cups. We haven't been dominating Champions League football. We haven't been dominating in Europe. We haven't been dominating even our domestic leagues with that money that we've spent.
We haven't even been dominating our city, for fuck's sake. No, I hear it, mate. No, I hear it. And
it's crazy.
That's why Ineos are here. Just fucking put the ticket prices fucking back down, though, please. Fucking hell. Don't fucking take the piss. Put the ticket prices down. It's hard to back you when you're doing that, you dickheads. Put them fucking down. Fucking 166% fucking increase. Chill out. I know you're trying to help, but chill out. That's not the right way. Boys, always a pleasure to sit and speak football every Tuesday with you gentlemen. Make sure to go check out the 12th Man podcast and it's LB. LB's, honestly, hopefully City keep losing, so LB's channel keeps getting the views, because it's amazing to see everyone watching you melt down. So get over there and watch them melt. Not that he's cashing in on his club losing. It's not his fault, but go over there and watch him when he has a meltdown. It's brilliant. Go check out 12th Man podcast as well. Brilliant show. Do me a big favor, people, and hit the like button before you leave. Over nearly 1,100 likes already on the show, which is amazing. Thank you to all the super chatters. Until next time, people, look after yourselves. Take care. Goodbye. God bless. And we'll see you soon. Peace.